I'm Peter Rodecker from Yellow Room Recording in Portland, Oregon. I'm a producer, arranger, mixing engineer, and multi-instrumentalist. I work with artists to help take their music from where it is to where they want it to be. Sometimes that means mixing and mastering. Sometimes that means playing guitar, mandolin, bass, or ukulele tracks and sending them back online. Sometimes that means programming a full arrangement from the ground up. The process for the song I'm going to cover today was a combination of all of those things. I'm going to break down the production and mix session for a song by Jenna Ellefson called Come Spring. When she sent me this track, it was just banjo and vocals, so this was the starting point.
There's a high snow falling. The wind and the rain.
And this is where we ended up. So let's play the full song and then we'll break down how we got there.
I will take you to a high place. I will take you with me one day. And where I'm going, none can say. But I will come back to you. And I am leaving in the morning, in the blue light o'er the mountain. And I am seeking for to save us. I will come back to you. Oh, there's a high snow falling. Oh, the wind and the rain. And I will lay me down beside you. Come spring, sweet baby. Through the winters, in the valleys, where I'm sleeping, you'll lie with me. Through the cold nights, in the tall trees, I sleep to see your face. And when that high snow starts falling, will you hear me across the mountain? Will you hear me singing? I will come back to you. There's a high snow falling. The wind and the rain. And I will lay me down beside you. Come spring, wildflowers will be waving in the breeze across the mountain. And I will pick them for you, darling. I'll bring them back to you. Oh, there's a high snow falling. Oh, the wind and the rain. And I will lay me down beside you. Oh, there's a high snow falling. Oh, the wind and the rain.
So the tune starts with just banjo and vocals. Here's the banjo as it was recorded with no effects. It sounds good. I was wanting it a little warmer, and I wanted to tame the attack a bit. So here's where we ended up. Then here's the vocal as it was recorded.
I will take you to a high place. I will take you with me one day.
And where we ended up.
I will take you to a high place. I will take you with me one day.
So after the first verse that's just banjo and vocals, there's this turnaround section that leads into the second half of the verse. This is where we drop the stomps and the claps in.
We'll come back to you. And
I liked the stomps, but the claps were a little brutal, so I took some of the top end off. This is how they started. And after EQ. Not drastic, I just pulled out a little of the 2K that was a bit abrasive. As we move on to the second half of the first verse, I dropped the stomps out for the most part, but kept the claps going.
I am leaving in the morning, in the blue light o'er the mountain, and I am seeking for to save us. Well, I will come back to you.
So we move on to the first chorus, and this is where we bring in our first instruments that are going to give us some more harmonic variation. We've got this acoustic guitar, and then this auto harp, which is actually from an iPhone app. That's something that I do a lot, where I'll take groups of instruments that function in a similar way and treat them as one thing. So this guitar and auto harp are just adding some extensions to the chords without adding a lot of rhythmic variation. Usually I'll pan all of the instruments that I'm thinking of as a group in the same way or in the opposite way. So in this case, they're each panned 50%, one to the left, one to the right. We'll move on to the second verse, where we drop in the acoustic guitar, the upright bass, and beef up the stomps and claps. Here's what that transition from the chorus into the verse sounds like.
Sweet baby, through the winters, in the valleys, where I'm sleeping, you'll lie with me. Through the cold nights, in the
So this bass is programmed. I wouldn't use it if it was more prominent, but I think it works in this mix. Here it is untreated. Then here it is with EQ, compression, some tape emulation, and then I sent it to a room to give it some space and make it feel a little more alive. Then we have this acoustic guitar that's tuned to drop D. It functions the same way the banjo does, but fills out the mids a little more, so I have it panned opposite the banjo, although neither of them are panned very wide. Here it is untreated. And treated. Then we've got the stomps and claps. I brought in an additional layer of stomps and an additional layer of claps to make both of them a little bigger, denser, and wider. So before we had this. And after adding the second layer, just a little bigger. One of my favorite things in music is when I expect something to happen and then I end up liking what actually happens more. That's what I was trying to set up here. The dynamics are ramping up. The claps that had just been hitting on the 4 are now hitting on the 2 and 4, and it feels like we're about to explode into a big chorus, but instead we dropped it down for this mandolin solo.
Hear me sing it. I will come back to you.
So right here, the two new elements that we add in, obviously the mandolin, but we also bring in this kick. It's super low and super punchy, but it's tight so it stays out of the way. So with the stomps and claps, it's not very audible, but it hits you in the chest. Going into the third chorus, the claps start hitting on the 2 and 4 again instead of just the 4. We also bring in a floor tom and a cymbal swell. Then this acoustic guitar comes in, which balances against the mandolin, and they play what's almost like a traditional Irish tune. Here's all of that in context, and you'll hear the floor tom in your left ear. Then the next verse is just solo vocals. Then for the next chorus, the banjo comes in, just strumming whole note chords. Then this last chorus gets huge when we add in this enormous kick drum. The recorded version of that had a lot of top end. But that upper register punch was already being taken care of by the other kick drum, so I just knocked the top end off of this one. Then we add in the rack tom in your right ear, plus these two ukuleles that are playing the same doubled part. I have them both hard panned. Here they are before any processing. And after. The other big change on this chorus is that I added a doubler to her voice and then sent that to a huge haul. Here it is without it.
Oh, there's a snow falling. Oh, the wind and the rain.
And with it.
Oh, there's a snow falling. Oh, the wind and the rain.
So let's go from the middle of the next to last chorus all the way to the end of the song.
The wind and the rain, and I will lay me down beside you. Oh, there's a snow falling. Oh, the wind and the rain, and I will lay me down beside you. Come spring, sweet baby.
And that's Come Spring by Jenna Ellefson. Thanks for watching. If you're interested in working together or you'd like to know more, find me at yellowroomrecording.com.